Good morning, all you beautiful brave hearts. Sandra May coming to you today. And we're going to talk to Dr. Fong because we are such a huge fan of IGF and we want to drill down just a little bit more specific. Instead of just saying fountain of youth, we want to get really specific because we love educating our audience and we know you're getting smarter and smarter as things go. So Dr. Fong is here, ready and willing to drill down and let's define what does this fountain of youth exactly mean. Hello, Dr. Fong. Thank you for being there. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us and all of our fans. How are you doing today?
Andrew, I'm doing great. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. And again, I think we're talking about something that everybody talks about. It's called anti-aging. Well, to be really honest with you, we can't stop aging. That's what anti-aging really means. But we need to age to have the maximal potential for our bodies. So, I guess the term more recently that's been coined is sort of healthy aging, or age. Yeah, we don't want to say the word aging with grace because that implies other things. So we don't say that. But the truth of the matter is, your body can be a lot better than where you are now. So I think everybody talks about it. You get to what about your mid 30s, sometimes earlier now, unfortunately, and you start talking about, hey, my metabolism's slowing down, dude. I'm putting on that beer gut, and I look at my buddy said, that's because you're still drinking 6 beers a night. But please stop that. But anyway, but the truth of the matter is, yeah, when we were younger, I'll take my friend. I won't say his name. I'll take my friend who drinks those 6 beers a night, and I swear I've been trying to get him to quit, but the whole point is, when he was younger, this guy would drink. I mean, I've known him since college. When he was younger, he would pound down. I won't say his name, so I won't incriminate him. But he used to pound down 12 beers or more, or do a whole bunch of drinks. And this guy's like working out the next morning, doing everything. And then when he hit his 30s, he was just like, "Oh, I can't do this anymore." I was like, "Well, what's wrong?" I was like, "Well, I'm getting. They say my metabolism slowed down. I can only drink so much. I can't process as much, and now I've got this gut." I'm like, and so this is just a prime example of what we're talking about today. We all talk about them. I really hope nobody's out there drinking 12 drinks a night. Okay, so number one, that is bad for you. You need to quit. Okay, I'm just saying it boldly. All right, because you're brave hearts. You're supposed to take charge of things. You're not supposed to be getting yourself bogged down with alcohol. Okay, so let's just clarify that. But we're using this as an example, and the whole point is that everybody says the same thing. I get to my 30s, man, I just don't have the energy I used to have. Two, I just don't have the stamina. I don't have that drive to go work out, the drive to really even be with even the people I want to be with, my family, my loved ones, and anybody else. And then we start noticing things start to slip down a slippery slope after that, right? Basically, we're talking about what? We're talking about that, hey, now we're starting to get, man, blood pressure's starting to go up. Uh-oh, my blood sugars are starting to get a little high, especially, we won't say your name, drinking 6 beers a night still. But anyway, and basically, and your cholesterol and those things, they all start going up. And I can tell you for a fact that doesn't necessarily need to happen, at least not to such a large degree. So let's talk about this. Why do we all start feeling that way? I mean, so Sandra, you see a lot of patients, don't you? You probably get the same thing. You hear a lot of them complain about that. And what's the first thing you normally would start to think about as a clinician? You start working up things, right? One of the first things most clinicians work up when they say, "Hey, my energy is low," or "Hey, I'm putting on pudge." They work up your thyroid. And we're not going to get on a soapbox here, but most physicians only do what's called a TSH, or a thyroid stimulating hormone. But you really need a full panel, which is a free T3, free T4, reverse T3. But forgive me, this is not a lecture in endocrinology, but the whole point is you need a little bit more of a comprehensive workup of the thyroid. In case folks you at home don't know what that is, thyroid's right here. There's an organ right in the front of your neck that goes up and down when you swallow. And what it does is it controls your metabolism, for lack of a better term. So it can give you energy. When you're low in the thyroid, you tend to gain weight. You tend to be slow in your bowels. Your heart rate goes down. You tend to be a little depressed. You feel cold very easily. And then you have too much thyroid, the opposite happens. But it's about all the primary care physician normally does. Maybe a little more astute physician will start looking at your adrenals. But guess what, guys? You're scratching the surface. You're looking on top of the water. You're trying to look for the Loch Ness monster, for God's sakes, and you're on top of the water. You're not dropping a sono buoy for you Navy guys out there, but you're literally on top of the water, just trying to see if the waves are too high or too low. Guess what, guys? That is not going to work. So why do we do this? Yes, don't get me wrong. There's people out there with thyroid and adrenal problems, but that's only part of the issue. When you dig deeper, let's look at how we come into the world. We're in mom's womb. God gave us the gift of being conceived. We start with one cell, and we rapidly, over 9 months, grow into this baby that comes out of mom's womb. And any ladies out there who've given birth, you know what I mean about that. Sometimes you wish it wasn't that many cells at once. But anyway, I'm sorry. That's not probably a fun thing to say. The point is, there's a huge amount of growth hormone, growth factors. That's what's motivating all these cells to make you into a baby, right? So when you're born, well, you got a huge amount of growth hormone surging through your body, especially for the size that you are. And then as you age, not only does that concentration go down, but your amount of growth hormone you make gradually goes down. You hit that critical point where the growth factor doesn't make up for things. And we'll talk about that in a second when you reach the 30s, sometimes earlier now, because it's about balance. So let's talk about that. The world. We live in a messed up world. We live in a fallen world, as my church loves to say. Everything in here is bringing us down. You talk about everything from radiation to environmental pollutants to toxic people to whatever. All these things can actually bring us down. And honestly, every single day, if you're active, you're actually damaging your body a little bit, and your body is repairing itself. So one of the main motivators is having that growth hormone, which, when it gets into our body, stimulates the release of all these various growth factors that will repair things for us, maintain things for us, keep things running at their maximal output. And one of the main motivators is IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1. Now, we have a product here that we're talking about called the IGF-1 that actually is a deer antler velvet extract. It's literally the growing deer antler. The deer are not harmed, but the growing deer antler, it has a complete growth matrix in the antler. So to clarify what I'm saying, a lot about you guys probably heard this before, but you know that deer, they lose their antlers every year. In the springtime, in the course of 110 days, I feel like I'm doing romper room with my kids. I'm sorry, but we're going to do this. You can see me do the funny thing because you can tell I have kids, right? So the deer grow antlers, and within 110 days, they'll have a full rack back to where they were. So normally what happens is you're looking at the middle of that growth cycle, about 50 or so days, you have the maximum amount of growth factors. Inside the antler is a growth matrix. And that's what the velvet is when you actually harvest the antler, and then you're able to extract the inside of the stuff. It's called a velvet. And the whole point is that is a complete growth matrix of 15 growth factors, including IGF-1, IGF-2. You've got things like morphogenic growth, bone growth factors for the bone. You have neurotropins for the nerves. You have endothelial growth factors for the vasculature, meaning growing blood vessels. So again, all these different ones, and there's also growth factors that prevent abnormal growth. Remember, God put this one together. He knew what he was doing. Okay. And by the way, the deer are not harmed, and it's actually sustainable because what we do is we actually clip not the whole antler off, but the very end of it off. So that's almost like giving them like a haircut. And you take that little end there, and you basically go in there. There's this viscous brown, gelatinous stuff. You suck that out, and then basically we cold press it, just like you do olive oil, and you put it into a liposomal delivery system, and more on that later. And that's you literally get something that's direct from nature. And all these growth factors happen to be the exact same ones in our bodies in exactly the same proportions, essentially. And by putting them in our bodies, we literally start to take the place of human growth hormone, because it has reached a critical point where it's not enough to maintain us at our maximal cells. We slip below that once we hit that point in our metabolism. When we hit the mid 30s, and we see that it's not our metabolism, it's this inability for us to make up for the damage that's coming in, so to speak, right? And so when we reintroduce those growth factors into our body, namely through this IGF-1 compound, we are now restoring the levels of the growth factors that make up for the damage that occurs in our body. So therefore, it now allows us to feel stronger. It allows us, again, using our bad example of my friend there, to go ahead and go crazy and go party and then feel normal the next day. Now, again, that is not medical advice. It's just saying that you have that capability doesn't mean you should go do it. Okay. But the whole point is that's what you're doing. You're restoring your body's ability to not only heal itself from damages, but to maintain your strength. So let's talk about that. IGF-1 in particular is the insulin-like growth factor 1 has the most studies behind it. It has the ability to help you to put on muscle, has the ability to maintain that muscle, and more importantly, helps you to repair all your tissues when you have damage. This is all from athletic studies. We know that that's true for anybody at any fitness level, that whatever they're doing, you're maintaining your tone better. Your muscle tones are, even if you don't work out, maintain better. Your muscle mass is definitely maintained. There's a thing called sarcopenia, that we age, we don't use our muscles, the muscles start to shrink away, you lose that muscle bulk and even some of the fibers. We don't want that. We want to maintain a good lean body mass. And this is the IGF-1 in particular helps us to do it. And even more so, the IGF-1, believe it or not, stimulates luteinizing hormone and helps to produce estrogen and testosterone in the body. So these are things that help to balance the hormone levels. The IGF-1 has anti-inflammatory effects in regards to its modulation in the immune system. So we have a lot of different things here. Guess what? We start putting our bodies back in a nicer balance. You're going to actually feel better. Not only feel better, but you're going to have that drive. You feel that, as Dr. Wolfe loves to put it, that energy build up inside of you that allows you to turn around and go do what you need to go do. And that's very true. You have that ability to now feel, wow, I feel like I can do things. And so there's even a physiologic basis of that. This is really cool, guys. We can dig at one level and keep digging at it, and that's what we're going to do here today. So guess what? So again, insulin-like growth factor 1. That means that this growth factor acts like insulin. So any of you guys out there who have problems with your blood sugar know that insulin is the compound, the hormone really, that drives sugar into your cells. Well, IGF-1 does the same thing. Because it's like insulin, like growth factor 1. It acts a lot like insulin, maybe not as effective as insulin, but it bolsters that ability to drive sugar into the cells. But your cells just don't store sugar. It immediately utilizes it for energy. So you're actually producing.
Can I just jump in? So anyone that is labeled diabetic, is this anything that they should be considering?
I have to use this on every single one of my diabetic patients to help drive that sugar into the cells, because we're trying to overcome, in most cases with a type 2 diabetic, it's called insulin resistance. Even type 1s can benefit from this as well. And the bottom line is that, again, getting the sugar out of places you don't want it, like in the circulation and the blood vessels, that's where it can cause harm. If glycosylation actually drives so glycosylation, where you're depositing sugar where you don't want to be depositing in various tissues, is going on. You don't want that sugar around to allow it to keep building up in the various organs, for instance. You want to drive it into the individual cells. So again, let me clarify what I just said, because that's a little confusing. Individual cells, meaning the insulin drives the sugar into the workings of the cell. Your cell has machinery that can process the sugar and make energy. But what happens is sugar can sometimes on its own sort of soak in or infiltrate the spaces between cells in a tissue. And that's what we call glycosylation. And it becomes a dead space. It becomes something that becomes diseased. And over time, that's the thing that causes a lot of these things that we see in diabetes, because you have a huge amount of sugar that's now soaking in, if you will, to the various organs. Now, your blood vessels are now not very good. They're not pliable. They rupture easily. You don't heal from wounds as quickly because you got all kinds of junk in the way. The nerves start having problems because you're now not just having fat that builds up nerve cells. You have sugar interspaced in that nerve fiber. And all these things, this glycosylation theory, has been well proven, and it is a manifestation not only in diabetes, but even what do you call it? But even for just everyday people, you're finding yourself when you don't utilize that sugar and it's building up, it's becoming an impediment. It's an interference to you using your organs. And guess what? That means your overall energy is dipping down.
And
If
that's,
you
we can call that inflammation, correct? When it gets into the wrong spaces.
Yeah, it's probably not. Usually, the term inflammation I use is more about where the immune system's attacking something, it's creating something immunologically to destroy something. And in this particular case, we can call it. I mean, inflammation is just an irritation to an area, but technically, it's where your body's responding to something. In this case, it's a pathologic function that's going on that's depositing the sugar. And yes, over time there's an interference to that tissue. And I guess there would probably be some level of inflammation because your body will respond to that. So it's not inflammation itself, but the body responding to that glycosylation or that deposition of the sugar could actually create an inflammatory response because it's not good there. At the very least, Sandra, we've always talked about in disease states, like when we have infectious diseases, most infections in our body, bacteria, yeast in particular, they love sugar. So the more sugary we are, the more they're going to have a field day. They're going to grow on us, and we're going to suffer. I see a lot of chronic Lyme disease patients in my clinic, and one of the first things that we ask a lot of the patients to do a lot of times is to limit their sugar intake because guess what? This is where you're right about this, Sandra. From the other side of things, when you reduce sugar in the body, your inflammatory levels will go down. So sugar itself is a pro-inflammatory thing, and so again, so you're right in that one sense, but the technical term, we don't want to get too technical, right? But the bottom line is, we're here and we're seeing this stuff. So if we can help drive the sugar from the open bloodstream where it could leach into tissues we don't want to, like in the spaces between the cells, we want the cells to start taking up as much of that sugar as possible and then sucking it into the cells, creating more energy. And believe it or not, over time, because we can, begin a process of oxidation of fats, which is where we can use the fats to create energy. The various processes related to that can help to start, hopefully, reverse that process of the sugar deposition in places we don't want. So over time, you're going to remove more and more of this interference out of the way, and that your cells, and in particular your tissues, which the cells make up, start to function better and better. So whatever organ that belongs to, that organ starts to function better. And guess what? The more aligned you get everything else, you're going to have more of that energy we talked about. So again, there's two things we just spoke of very specifically metabolically: driving the sugar into the cell, insulin-like growth factor 1 and insulin-like growth factor 2. They act like insulin, so they increase your ability to bring that sugar out of the free spaces and into the cells. That's critical. They increase oxidation of fats, for instance, these growth factors, and in particular IGF-1, and that helps to break the fat down for energy. Similar processes to that will help mobilize that sugar that might be stuck in the spaces, the extracellular spaces in between the cells in a tissue that are interfering, start to break them down and hopefully start to suck that sugar up too. So metabolically, there's a lot going on here. But then really, as Dr. Wolfe is fond of saying, when you get everything lined up, everything starts to function the way it's supposed to. God gave us this amazing ability to right ourselves. It's like imagine a big tall sailing ship, and it's like this, but the best designer of the world designed it so as soon as the wave let up, you just right yourself. That's God. He put our bodies that way. We have a dynamic ability to reset ourselves. We have the ability to heal ourselves, but we have to give the body the proper capability of doing that. We have to put it in such a place that it can do that. Being an osteopathic physician, the founder of osteopathy, Andrew Taylor Still, had a saying, I'm going to probably not quite quote it 100%, but it's essentially the body has an innate ability to heal itself. We just have to find the right combination to give it that ability to do so. So again, this is, and there's philosophical things all over medicine. Confucius says that no success can compensate for the premature failure of our bodies. So you take the reverse of that, and we can if we can have earlier successes and avoid the premature failure of our body, we'll have a successful ability to maintain ourselves, to age in a healthy manner. An
Yeah.
anti.
One thing I like to explain to people, and it's not contradictory to what you just said, but I've always said that, hey, your body, even though it's highly toxic, it is doing its best for you. We have overloaded our systems, and we are overloaded nowadays just with lots of dirty energy, EMFs everywhere that is powerful enough to infiltrate into the cells. So, because one thing is, well, why isn't this just normally happening? We're toxic, right? We have toxic thoughts, we have toxic beliefs. Your cells only have the level of commitment to life that you do and have to adhere to your belief systems. So we're toxic all over the place. So this is going to help us get back to that normal setting so that things can start to work better.
Right. And again, resetting all these things, you're part of what I was just saying, all your cells have an ability to detoxify, but you have to, but when you're actively in a toxic environment, you don't give that cell a chance to detoxify. It's not gonna necessarily put that gear into place and start putting a ton of toxins out, because it's too busy dealing with the toxins coming in. So in other words, there's an active defense, and then there's a processing of the toxins out of the cell, and you can't do both at once. And so you have to actually kind of pick and choose one or the other. So you got to get yourself out of that toxic situation as much as you can. And if not, then you got to build up your ability to then process those things out. And part of that is what we're talking about here with the IGF-1, to put your cells and all the other, and by definition, all the tissues back in the proper alignment, but metabolically, the cellular levels, you are going to have that ability to clean yourself out. You're going to then be able to produce all the energy we talked about, not only from sugar, but and the breakdown of fats, but also because everything is lined up. You're now driving the sugar into the proper tissues that via the cells, not just in the extracellular space, but into the cells, and they're able to produce energy at the various levels. There are very significant studies showing how IGF improves sugar uptake into the muscles, and that allows for better muscle development, better workouts, better ability to maintain your lean body mass. And you guys have probably heard in previous shows, when we talk about the deer antler velvet in general, especially the IGF-1 component, it will burn fat, and that's how and that's what I just mentioned is how it does it. And it's going to put on muscle, burn fat. We all will look probably better no matter what level we are. Okay, that alone is probably one of the biggest things you want to talk about in the fountain of youth, because everybody talks about, wow, you look rejuvenated. Wow, you look a lot younger than you should. It's like, so everybody's looking for that. But when you can align yourself from the very foundation, the very basic of your body, which we consider the basic component, is the actual cell. We get everything working better there. Everything else kind of falls into place. And that's what I think we're trying to give the message here today.
Yeah.
And so by doing that, we produce the energy we need to be able to do all the things. We produce the energy we need to do a good job at work. We produce the energy we need to do a good job at school. We produce the energy we need to spend the time with people that we love and that we need to spend that time with, because they deserve your love and your time. And anything else that we need to do, we will be able to do it in that manner. So again, this is where we've dug a little deeper into what IGF-1 and the other growth factors do, but realize it is ultimately about how your body is able to be put into what it's meant to be in regards to its alignment, if you will, into its metabolic ideal phase. Thinking back to I don't know if I call this traumatic, because you had to remember all this stuff and you're cramming for tests back in the days of medical school and pre-med. But everybody probably remembers something called the Krebs cycle, if you've ever gone in that direction. The Krebs cycle is a means for the body to produce what we call ATP, which are adenosine triphosphate molecules, which are energy molecules in the body. And that was the ability of the body to do that in a regular basis with everything lined up and nothing interfering with it, is about 38 of those ATP. Okay. And when we're learning is that if things don't keep being in the ideal state, we go down these alternate pathways. There's one citric acid cycle, there's a TCA cycle or whatever. And they produce energy, but produce a lot less. Like one only produces 6, the other one produces 12 versus the full 38. So you see, when the body's responding to something, God made all of our systems so dynamic they can respond to stuff. But it also means that in response to stuff, yeah, we're compensating, but we're not getting anywhere near the 100% potential that we are. That's what this is about. Putting those growth factors back in helps to line us back up with that maximal potential so you can be the best that you can be.
Sure. We've got some great questions here from Jason. He is saying IGF-1 and IGF-2, won't these taper off just like the antlers do, or expire to be useful and need to re-up? So I guess he's talking about usage and how often would you have to use the product, I think.
Well, I mean, as anybody who's been on the product, we stay on the product, and there's no harmful side effects whatsoever, and the product helps us continue to be the maximum that we can be. And so, if Jason's asking, do I have to keep taking this? Well, the answer is probably yes, because by definition, you're not making enough of these growth factors to begin with. Because again, I don't know how old you are, Jason, but if you've reached that point where you're saying your metabolism has slowed down, which is what most people call that milestone, it by definition means you don't have enough growth hormone and you're not, by corollary, producing enough of these growth factors. The bottom line is, if you want to be able to maintain yourself at the best level that you can, you have to supplement the actual growth factors. So the answer is yes, you're going to have to actually continue to take it. And if you're asking, do these things taper off as you age? Yes, they do. And that's furthermore reason, that you need to actually replace them. This is actually, I shouldn't even say supplementation. This is kind of a replacement of the growth factors in your body. Even though you probably are making some, you're not making enough. We're going to, I guess you can use both terms, but supplement means you're just adding to what you have there. Replacing tends to imply that it's going to be taking over for the main role instead of what you produce in your body. Again, depending on what your status is, how old you are, you can use either term more appropriately at that point.
Perfect. Perfect. Wonderful. Well, thanks for your time. I really appreciate that. We've got a little bit of catching up to do with our team, with all our fans out there. So I've got some information to share with them, but really appreciate that. And Jason, if you can go back on the Facebook page and find last week's show with Dr. Fong, I do believe it was last week or 2 weeks ago, maybe, where we talked about your brand new product, how IGF and the Man Up really plays well for gentlemen as well. So yeah, Jason, maybe just go back into the archives there and search on our Facebook page. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being committed to that education level, because that's I think what sets Doc of Detox apart is we want to educate first and go from there.
It's always about a team effort, because you guys as patients, if you take care of yourself, it makes my job as a physician any easier. But if you ever want to reach me, my name is Bruce Fong. I'm the medical director here at Sierra Integrative Medical Center. We're located in Reno, Nevada, in the United States here. Our phone number is 775-828-5388, and 828-5388. And you can check us out on the web. It's www.sierraintegrative.com. That's SIERAINTEGRATIVE.com. No spaces or dashes. And come check us out. If we can help you out, we're here to listen, because we're not here to judge you. We're here to listen and get things fixed right for you.
Perfect. Okay. Well, let's, Doc of Detoxers, let's make sure you know exactly what's going on in the world of Doc of Detox. The Healers of the Faith sale is on now, up to that 30% off. And note that up to docofdetoxstore.com. We just had a fantastic collaboration with Dr. Judy Mikovits on Sunday. We did the Q&A yesterday. And go to bhnuniversity.com if you want to sign up because there's one more event. It's going to be Wednesday evening. We're going to get to join in with Dr. Judy's crew and her book club on Wednesday evening. So that's going to be exciting as well. And then July, we have another huge event scheduled. It's called Gold Care, another BHN TV world event with Dr. Dana Granberg-Neal, Dr. Simone Gold, Dr. Daryl Wolfe, and a whole host of world leading healers. That's Sunday, July 13th. From 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then two Q&As are going to be Monday afternoon, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 2, and then Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Again, sign up at Dr. Daryl Wolfe, or sorry, sign up at bhnuniversity.com to get in on those links. Here is a lovely schedule for world events. Look at this. Rock with the Doc of Detox, July 19th. Heal Yourself, Heal Your Family on August 6th. September 6th, another Rock with the Doc of Detox. October 5th, Quantum Power Pack Healing. October 26th, Food Forest Abundance. We all love Jim Gale, don't we? And November 16th, Super Soldier Immunity. Wonder what that's going to be about, right? Okay, so then let's say Facebook, we are growing by leaps and bounds every day. And so we're feeling that pinch of, hey, when is this shadow banning perhaps going to come back? And do we have to watch out for that? Thankfully, Dr. Daryl Wolfe has already taken this into consideration and he has already invested money into the app so that nothing can disconnect you from the world of Doc of Detox. So get on that bhnapp.com. You can download that to your phone device or use it on your laptop. The features of the app are to track your perfect day, right? We're here to teach you all about how to create that perfect day. And that doesn't mean perfect emotions. It means you leaning into you to create your perfect day, how it suits you and how it suits your dreams and your authentic self. Then there's news and events. There's the New World Practitioner. There's the Evolve tab. There's the Connect with other Bravehearts around the globe, the Perfect Match, and the Mindful Moment Reminder, reminding you that your power is in the present moment. Your healing and health is in the present moment. So go to bhnapp.com and unleash that practitioner within. Dr. Sage Wolfe is a busy guy. He is coming to St. Louis, Missouri, Sunday, July 6th to Tuesday, July 15th. You're going to call Tim to book that, 479-215-9592. And everything that he's doing, he's going to be doing the same thing in each location. So let's just take a minute to explain that. He's going to be doing Wolfe Non-Surgical. He is the master of masters, right? He teaches this course and has done so for a good 8, perhaps even 10 years. He's been teaching this. So he'll do Wolfe Non-Surgical treatments. He'll do cell sonic regeneration. Those two go together really well. There will be the cardio med bed available. In this location, he is also going to be able to do thermographies and full consultations with those thermographies, and usually the heavy metal test as well. Okay, so from there, he is going to be heading to Los Angeles. You're going to call Narin to book between July 31st and August 7th. 386-631-4066. Now, if you have questions, you can talk directly with Dr. Daryl Wolfe. If you're brand new, you're like, hey, what the heck is this Wolfe Non-Surgical? Not a problem. You can reach out directly to Sage Wolfe at 250-801-5673. From there, he is coming back up to Canada, to Montreal, Quebec. You're going to call Christiane to book between August 23rd and September 1st, 438-929-0997. Then he's going to be, here is a little lineup of the treatments and consultation tour that he's on. This is a summary. Probably Calgary's booked up. That's probably why we don't see this specific slide for that. But he's going to be in Calgary doing treatments between June 26th and June 30th. And then he's teaching the course before that, June 14th to June 25th. Then his time in St. Louis, Missouri, Occidental, California. Looks like he's probably booked up there with our master practitioner, Cheryl, July 20th, July 29th. Then he is going to the Los Angeles for the treatments and teaching the course between July 31st and August 7th, and then up to Montreal that we just chatted about. If you need any more information, you're going to go to bhnuniversity.com. The BHN courses for Calgary is Wolfe Non-Surgical, July 14th to July 25th. The Women's Pelvic course, June 27th to June 29th. Then to Ixtapa Ziwant Neo in October October 29th to November 6th. The Wolfe Non-Surgical, November 9th to November 19th. And the Women's Pelvic course, November 21st to the 23rd. Then next year, we're already starting to advertise next year. Los Angeles is going to be January 14th. And all 3 courses are going to be scheduled all the way down to February 8th. Then in Ixtapa, as soon as that's done, then they're heading right back to Ixtapa. I'm going to start the Whole Life Health Certified on January 28th. And all 3 courses there ending on February 22nd. USA financing available, so head to bhnuniversity.com to get that information. Here at Doc of Detox, we love bringing you from patient to healer and from victim to braveheart, right? And you can do some of these things, let's see, at the DoD 5-Star Healing and Training Retreat in Ixtapa Ziwant Neo, and opening soon, St. Cloud, Florida in 2026. So that's on Jim Gale's property. So that's going to be very exciting as well. We are on all these social media platforms: Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, Rumble, Telegram, BitChute. And also, we have all the audios available for you because, like we said, we want to teach you first. We want to educate you first. So to do that, if you find a topic that you are really jazzed about, go to any of these locations to get the audios downloaded. Spreaker, Spotify, Zeekr, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible. To get all of these BHN TV station life-changing podcasts. We have fulfillment centers in US, in Canada, and in Australia. So get on shopdodnow.com. The computer will figure out which location to ship your products from, and we will get you that life-saving products in your hands. Now, if you're a huge fan of Doc of Detox and you just can't stop talking about Doc of Detox and Black Diamond and Black Gold, we want to help you become an affiliate partner, right? Person-to-person advertising is hugely effective with your own personal authenticity of, hey, this was happening, and now this is what's not happening for me now, right? So sign up at docofdetoxpartner.com to earn your commission on referrals to the docofdetoxstore.com. If you are a health practitioner already and you have a space where you sell products or you have a space online where you sell products, you can become a wholesale buyer. So sign up. We want you to chat with Dr. Daryl Wolfe first. We want you to call him at 469-861-9454 or the toll-free line of 855-900-4544, extension 5. Or email the office.docofdetox@gmail.com. Okay, now when you are interested in maybe becoming a health practitioner, maybe you want to slightly transform your existing practice, you can do this with a DoD Power Pack Clinic. If you purchase the Cell Sonic Regeneration, the Cardio Med Bed, you're going to get a free 23-day professional training with each purchase. So head to dodpowerpack.com to learn all about that. Financing is available for both the courses and the Power Pack Clinic devices. So head to dodpowerpack.com or bhnuniversity.com for the courses, and you will see a link in that information taking you to the online application for financing. The Whole Life Health Certified and the Wolfe Non-Surgical, if you take both of those together, that's where we say you are a New World practitioner. Head to bhnuniversity.com or dodpowerpack.com for all this information. The DoD 5-Star World Healing and Training Retreat. The website is DoD, the number 5star.com for all the information. Maybe you want a personal treatment and training there. Maybe you just want to go and hang out, do a juice retreat. Check out all the local places to see. It is vacation world. It is beautiful. It is a fabulous place just to go and show up and meet the Mexican people and rub shoulders with them. They are lovely, kind, and very, very helpful. They're very fun. They teach us North Americans to slow the flip down. Right, Rafa? You guys know you've had to teach us to calm the frick down. Okay. DoD 5-Star Healing and Health and Healing Center. Here are the slides showing us what the location will look like, the pool, and there's a picture of someone doing the Wolfe Non-Surgical for you. So again, it is in Ixtapa, Mexico, and you can head to dod5star.com. Okay, personal treatments, personal certifications and trainings. If you can't get to Ixtapa, Mexico, Dr. Sage Wolf can come to you. Call Dr. Dara Wolf directly to get that booked. 855-900-4544, extension 5. You can hit extension 1 there probably as well and talk to his assistant, or call him on a U.S. direct line, 469-861-9454. Now, all these courses we're talking about, here is the prices. The Whole Life Health Certified, taken by itself, is 9 days. It is $39.95. The Wolfe Non-Surgical Certified is 12 days. It is $4,900. And take them together, it is called the New World Practitioner, and it is 21 days and $8,000. For women only, we have that pelvic restoration and disease prevention. It is in certain locations, and we are working towards making it an online course as well. So that is $11.97 for women only. So be here now and unleash your potential for healing. Just another note, financing is available for either the Power Pack and oh, we're still on because it looks like we're ending.